Everyone, and welcome to The Exchange. I'm your host, Tyler Berg. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a great conversation here today, and first we're going to take a look back at President Obama's first term and the hopes that the country has for a second. And after the many tragic mass shootings of 2012, we will speak to writer and teacher Reggie Finlayson about the history of mass shootings in the United States. Then, with women demanding equal rights in the workplace and the home, some women are even asking to fight on the front lines of war. Our cameras hit the streets to find out if a woman needs to buy a man a Valentine gift. Let me introduce our guests today. First, we have musician and documentary filmmaker Alejandro Santiago, and Nisha Scott, fashionista and director of the Girlfriends Talk Show, and Will Picard, film expert and production specialist. Rick Horowitz will also be joining us with commentary at the end of the show. This year, since January 20th fell on a Sunday, President Obama was re-inaugurated into office on Monday, January the 21st, which was also the day Dr. Martin Luther King was celebrated in the year and was very symbolic to all Americans also. Let's take a look back at Obama's first term that inspired America to give him a second chance.
Is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible? Who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time? Who still questions the power of our democracy? Tonight is your answer.
I, Barack Hussein Obama,
I,
do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear. My fellow citizens, I stand here today humbled by the task before us, grateful for the trust you've bestowed, mindful of the sacrifices borne by our ancestors. You know, the folks at the top of this country, turns out they don't need another champion in Washington. They'll always have a seat at the table. They'll always have access and influence. The people who need a champion are the Americans whose letters I read late at night after a long day in the office. The men and women I meet on the campaign trail every day. The laid-off furniture worker who's retraining at the age of 55 for a new career at a community college. She needs a champion. Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda. I believe we can keep the promise of our founding. The idea that if you're willing to work hard, it doesn't matter who you are, or where you come from, or what you look like, or where you love. It doesn't matter whether you're black or white, or Hispanic, or Asian, or Native American, or young or old, or rich or poor, able, disabled, gay or straight. You can make it here in America if you're willing to try. You reaffirmed the spirit that has triumphed over war and depression, the spirit that has lifted this country from the depths of despair to the great heights of hope, the belief that while each of us will pursue our own individual dreams, we are an American family and we rise or fall together as one nation and as one people. It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. E pluribus unum, out of many, one.
Very inspiring, but with 50% of Americans being disappointed with his last term, the White House has a lot of work to do after the many economic problems that the United States has faced. Nisha, what do you think the president can do to improve in his second term?
I would definitely say he can improve on the economy and job growth. But one thing that really hits close to home is the senseless murders in Chicago. It's so close here to Wisconsin. I would definitely think he needs to address that problem. I believe they're on like their 46th homicide, and the year just begun. So it's definitely an epidemic, and he really needs to address that problem, that issue, and we need to figure out what we as Americans can do about that.
Sure. Will?
Well, first off, I kind of take issue with that statistic. Over 50% of people are disappointed with Obama's first term. I look back at the first term, and only positive things really jump out at me. I mean, the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which was his really the first thing he did once he got into office. I think of the killing of Osama bin Laden. I think of our getting out of Iraq. I think of comprehensive health care reform. I think of the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I feel that these are very important progressive reforms that take a great leader to put forth. And I'm actually very pleased with the first term. That's not saying that everything is perfect. There's never a perfect term for a president. They always have some issues. Going into the second term, I would say that I'm really looking forward to the talk on firearms and restrictions, the war on the NRA. I'm looking forward to I'm actually looking forward to a lot. So it's nice.
What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, well, I agree with Will and about the first term. I mean, it wasn't easy when he started. We were in a really deep economical problems, the war, all those things. So it really wasn't easy. So I think he's reaching all the diversity of this country, gay rights, immigration reforms, and I think he has give hope to people like us that is really changing. Things are really changing, and we are in new times. They require new regulations and new reforms, and I think in this second term he's going to work on it, and hopefully people is going to let him work, because that has been one of the obstacles. I think he has been too friendly with, I'm not going to say enemies, but other people in Congress. He has been too friendly to condense them. I think I would like to see him in the second term a little bit more tough in that sense.
So how do you go about, how does the president go about improving and making those changes?
What changes are you referring to?
The changes you guys talked, like you just discussed. How does the president make that kind of stuff happen? I mean, he's just one guy, like you said, Congress, and do you feel like there's maybe some unrealistic expectations for the man in office?
There's always unrealistic expectations for any president. It's the guy in charge of our country, and people expect him to be able to do whatever he wants because we elected him. But that's the way we organized our government system. So one person doesn't have the power to do whatever they want. They have to have assistance from Congress and the Senate. Now we have a Democratic president, we have a mostly Democratic Senate, and we have a Republican majority in the House. That makes it difficult to just pass whatever you want to as a Democrat. So you're going to have to go with a bipartisan basis on a lot of things.
Sure. All right, we're going to move forward now, and after the many tragic mass shootings of 2012, the nation is in an uproar over gun control laws. But author of We Shall Overcome the History of the Civil Rights Movement, Reggie Finlayson, is going to tell us a little more about the history of mass shootings.
And I'm an instructor at Milwaukee Area Technical College in the English department. In addition, I am a writer and performer. The recent shootings in Oak Creek, in Connecticut, down in Texas have focused the nation's attention on gun violence, and I think that that's understandable. I guess the first mass shooting that I recall was during the 70s, the New Year's and early January of 1973, there was a shooting down in New Orleans involving Mark Essex, and he killed, I believe it was 19 people or so, 5 of whom were police officers. And I was very struck by that. He happened to be an African American fella, and he was responding to the racism that he had experienced in the Army as well as society and civilians. In that case, he was aiming for whites only, and in fact was reported as seeing some black workers and telling them not to be afraid because he was not targeting them. So that was one of the first cases acts of violence, say, in 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The disgruntled whites attacked an area called Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was a very wealthy area. They called it the Black Wall Street. There were lots of black businesses. We need to be careful that we balance safety concerns with constitutional rights. Most of the debate focuses on the Second Amendment and whether people have the right to bear arms, and that's an important debate. But I think when we talk about some of the procedures that have been discussed, background checks, looking at people's psychological status, that suggests that our medical records will become more and more open to law enforcement, and I worry about the Fourth Amendment rights to be secure in our privacy, the Fourth Amendment rights with the kinds of searches that we see without provocation. I worry about the Fifth Amendment rights, and so I'm really concerned about the loss of certain constitutional freedoms.
Our hearts truly go out to all the victims of these senseless crimes, and although there were more of these shootings in 2012 than in previous years, we now see, although more popular, this is nothing new to the United States. But the real question is, what can the everyday citizen like me and you do to prevent these kinds of crimes? Will, what do you think?
Well, I would say the most important thing we can do is support our leaders, our elected officials, in the reforms that they're trying to pass. I personally am in favor of the assault weapons ban, of the reduction in clip capacity to 10 rounds. I think that these measures are necessary. You look at gun control rights, and you look at the way other countries view America, and it's really interesting because they don't understand this gun culture we have. It's actually, kind of unique in America. We cling to our guns, even though we have abhorrent violence across the spectrum, gun violence in specific. And, people just look at us and think, why? It's just senseless. There's no real purpose to it. But that's just the culture we have in the United States. I think that needs to be addressed through political reform in the sense that, we need to, take steps to limit the availability of the most devastating of these weapons to prevent mass shootings. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have firearms, just there are certain firearms I think that should not be in the hands of everyday civilians.
Nisha, your thoughts?
I definitely agree with Will. I would just have to say, there's really no way around it. Even if you were to restrict the assault weapons, if somebody really wants to get something done, they're going to figure out a way to do it. Me personally, I definitely think that maybe the teachers need to take some type of classes, concealed weapon classes, and maybe put the guns in the schools with the teachers. I mean, there's definitely ways you can put them up in a locker or keep them somewhere where students won't get a hold of them. Of course, that's the number one. You got to keep the kids protected, but I definitely feel like that can prevent a lot of things with teachers having guns on them. That's
the same argument a lot of people used with the shootings in, what was it, Colorado, the movie theater. They said if more of the civilians had concealed firearms, that man would not have been able to shoot just maybe like one person. And if you're in that situation, if you're in a dark theater and someone starts shooting and then 5 or 10 people pull out their concealed weapons and start shooting, can you imagine
That's a definitely different
carnage?
Situation.
That's the same
No,
argument
it's not.
that you have.
That's
in
a different situation because that's a dark
with civilians.
That's a dark movie theater. A school
And schools
is
are
bright.
better where you have small children?
Well, imagine a teacher that
No.
is taking this gun and she's all nervous. Maybe her vision blurry, and maybe she helps to kill more
Of course,
kids. I don't
anything-
think that is the
anything
solution.
Anything could
Our
happen,
teachers
but why
are there to
not be
educate
able
the
to?
next generation. They're not there to be a security force. Our
But
schools
they
shouldn't
were
have to be under
security.
armed guard.
They were security. A
should
lot of
teach
teachers
both
died
anti-bullying
jumping in front of those
programs.
bullets for those
That will
students.
help
Yeah,
to
they did.
solve that.
Okay, so
So they should have guns?
yes, they should.
No, guns have no place in our school system.
I disagree.
That is completely
I
not right.
disagree.
No, I agree with Will. I think the teacher should be
If
more
not
in the
all the
educating,
teachers-
in teaching.
We wanna
not to,
t-
not
A
to
lot of
bully.
teachers-
We
Because
want
it's
to
the-
teach
lot of
our future
teachers-
generations to be accepting, not to be worrying about, if that person has a
Of
gun
course,
or if
I
that person
agree
is going to
with you.
shoot
I
you.
agree with you, but
We don't want a paranoid culture.
But things
Correct.
happen.
That will be there.
Things happen, and why not be prepared?
You can prepare in other ways. There are ways to prevent
You
these
cannot prepare
incidents
for a
Even if-
situation
without
even
like
if-
giving
that,
I'm
firearms
not
to
saying
civilians.
all the teachers need. Maybe the principal. Maybe at least one gun. In,
I don't
in
know
the
about
school.
your experience, but my principal wasn't the nicest guy, okay? I don't think I would trust him with a firearm more than any of the other teachers. These people
know,
are
and
not
I-
trained
and I also-
professionals.
and I also-
They're not military people. They're everyday people who probably have never held a gun before in their life.
That's why I said take a
You will
concealed
have to- you
weapons
will have to
class.
ask
That's
these
not the
to a
duty of a
teacher.
teacher. Their duty is to educate, not to
Correct.
shoot people, not to learn how to shoot people, not to teach that to
I
our
think they
children.
are too
There's
busy
nothing
with all
nothing
these
wrong
kids.
with being prepared. There's nothing wrong.
There
with,
is something wrong with the wrong type of preparation.
There's nothing wrong with being prepared. And these acts are senseless. There's people just walking
If
in
you're,
these
if you're that
schools
worried
and
about
killing
people
these-
being
these
shot or
students.
yourself being shot in a school, then why don't you wear a bulletproof vest to school? Huh?
That- I mean,
that,
yeah,
that
you
would
can-
certainly protect you. That's preparing, isn't it?
Yeah, you can. That too. I agree with you.
So why don't you have a bulletproof vest then?
Why don't you?
Because I am not afraid of being shot in my own school.
Well, then you have a problem because there's a lot of, like they said,
I
there's
think
a
you
lot
have
of
a problem.
mass.
If that is
there's a
your
lot
fear-
of mass shootings going on.
If that is
and
your fear and you have failed to prepare for it, then I think that you have
I
a
don't.
problem.
I don't have a problem. I just feel like why not be prepared? A lot of teachers died that day saving these students.
Yes, they did. And
And
it's a senseless, heinous crime.
and there's nothing wrong with
And there are
teachers.
ways to prevent it without giving firearms to teachers.
Okay,
All
then
right.
what is the way? What is the way?
We're going to move on now to a much lighter note. Most Americans just celebrated Valentine's Day, and traditionally it's a holiday for men to shower their sweethearts with gifts. But with women asking for equal pay for equal work and even war, do you think a woman should also buy her man a Valentine's gift? Our cameras hit the streets to ask men and women what they think.
Do I think a woman needs to buy a Valentine's Day present for a man? I don't see any problem with it.
I would say if she wants to, but it's more traditional for a man to buy his woman a Valentine's Day gift. It's more romantic,
Yes, I do think women should give men Valentine's Day gifts. I have no idea why, but I think that it should be done that way.
Well, for Valentine's Day, I don't think the girl should have to buy any kind of present for the man. I think the man should do all the work and buy the girl the present.
A young fella need to buy his young lady a Valentine's gift. When I was 16 and a teenager growing up, that was the highlight. One of the highlights of me being a teenager is to get the young lady a Valentine's gift. We would get that big old red box of candy from Walgreens, and I would present it to the young lady, and that would make her day. It wasn't as important for her to give me a gift, as long as I saw the smile on her face when I gave her that candy. That had a significance of saying that we were maybe boyfriend and girlfriend at that age, and it was a wonderful thing. And yes, I do believe that a young man should give a young lady a Valentine's gift and take her out to dinner, maybe.
For me and my partner, Valentine's Day is also the day we met. So when we buy each other gifts, we end up getting something a little nicer. Last year, he got me a gift certificate to go skydiving, and I actually bought him a handgun.
I think that a girl has to buy a guy a Valentine's gift because they're as sweet as they, and that's when a girl is supposed to buy a gift for a dude.
No, I don't believe it's necessary for a woman to buy a present for a man for Valentine's Day. Neither do I believe it's necessary for a man to buy a woman a gift for Valentine's Day. The love that they have should show all year, and the present, it's just that we love each other. What is the present going to prove?
Those were all very interesting answers, but I'm dying to know what you guys think. Let's start with you, Alejandro.
Well, Valentine's Day is the day of love, friendship. So I totally agree. I would like to see my girlfriend giving me presents. Why, it's always me. So I would like to see that. That will be true love.
I know you have a response.
Yes, I'm a more traditional young woman, and I definitely believe in the man courting the woman. And no, I do not agree with women buying men Valentine's Day gifts. Well, women, yes, women. I don't think women should buy a man Valentine's Day gift. The man should court the woman.
Okay. Will?
This is always an interesting an interesting talk we have, because you look at way women's rights have evolved over the past half century or whatnot, and we've taken huge strides in sexual equality. And in fact, just recently, we've allowed women to serve on the front lines of battle, which is a huge step forward in military service. And whenever I hear this argument, I kind of think of sexual equality, and are people sexist against men now? I mean, am I now being oppressed as women have in the past? I should be forced to, spend money on things that they don't spend money on. I should be forced to give them things that they don't give me. If we're in an equal partnership, if we are in a romantic courtship, then should not we both give an equal amount to that endeavor?
Any man that says that don't have any money. So.
And now insults. Insults. Okay.
That's what I would have to say.
That's the road we're going down.
Because a man that loves his woman, he does not have a problem with courting his woman, buying her gifts,
I don't have a problem buying you gifts.
I think you like to be pampered.
Yes, I do. Why wouldn't I?
I have no problem with buying a woman gifts on Valentine's Day.
What woman
but
does not want
I would
to
like
be
that to be
pampered?
reciprocated.
Well, I like to be pampered too.
There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
would like to feel that
And
I'm appreciated in a relationship,
all year
right?
round. You get pampered all year round.
All year round.
All year round.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't believe so. Do this for me. Do that for me.
They
Take
clean.
me over there.
They take care of your kids. They wash your clothes. So why
Are
not
you
on
saying
Valentine's Day?
that women just have a place in the home? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I didn't say that. I was answering Alejandro's question. I said, you guys get pampered all year round. Women, we cook,
What if I'm the one
we
that
clean,
cooks for my
we take
wife?
care of the kids.
What if I take care of the kids?
You don't.
I do.
My father was a
But
stay-at-home
balance-
dad since I was a little child, okay? My mother worked, and my father stayed at home for as long as I can remember. Now, in that situation, he should be forced to give her a Valentine's Day gift, and she should not.
No, it's not necessarily about the materialistic thing. He can cook a dinner for her, or when she
Well,
gets
isn't it
home
all
from
about
work,
the
give
materialistic
her.
aspect with you? I mean, isn't that the whole argument that you based it off of?
No, I didn't.
He's pampered because I stay in the kitchen and I make him dinner, and then on Valentine's Day I expect him to give me a Valentine's. Well, what if that's not the case?
I definitely.
Are you like taking a tally? You've done this, I've done
No,
this,
I
you've
don't
done
take
this, I've done
tallies.
this.
I don't
So
take tallies,
I've actually
but
done more for you, so
any-
you should give me a gift. That doesn't sound like love to me.
Any
That
man
sounds like
that's
a
gonna
business
court
relationship.
me, I'm a traditional woman, and I'm gonna stand by this. Any
So
man that's
you should just
courting
stay in
me,
the kitchen. You shouldn't have to talk. You shouldn't have the right to vote. You shouldn't have the right as a
You're
normal
taking
human
it to
citizen.
a whole nother level. I
Well,
never said
that's
anything.
traditional, isn't
I never
it? That's
said
where
anything.
we were before.
No, I never said anything about that.
So
what I'm saying
what
is
is your
on
position on
Valentine's
sexual
Day.
equality
On
then?
Valentine's
Because I'm
Day,
confused here.
we're talking
What
about
does traditional mean to
Valentine's
you?
Day. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, we are.
Valentine's Day,
And that
I do
is an
not
aspect of
think
sexual
a woman should buy a man a gift for Valentine's Day.
I
do
just
not.
don't understand your rationale.
No, I don't
I
think
feel
a
like
woman,
I'm being
I don't
oppressed
think a
here.
woman should buy a man's
Why not?
Valentine's
I
Day
mean,
gift.
it's nothing wrong with
Women
it.
should
No,
appreciate
there's
men
nothing wrong
too.
with it.
It's
There's
gonna
nothing wrong with it.
ruin
equal-
Valentine's
but
Day
a-
because you
But
give
a
a present.
But a man should court his
Well,
woman. What is
well,
wrong
what
with
should
courting
it
your
be for
woman?
a man,
What is
huh?
wrong with
Wouldn't you
being-
like go to the mall and say,
court on
this
your-
will be
you can court on
gorgeous
your
for my
birthday.
boyfriend?
That's your
Well, you have a
special
birthday
day.
All righty.
That's your special day.
All
birthday
righty.
too.
That's your special day. Your birthday.
Well,
You gotta give me
okay.
something.
We're going to move forward, and we're going to go to Rick Horowitz for some advice about what America can do and what you can do to stop future mass shootings.
For a little chat about words? Great. Not a commentary, a chat. Chat sounds nice and informal, doesn't it? Friendly. And that's the point. The words you use, the words you choose, can make all the difference. That's certainly true in politics. It's why the fights are so fierce, say, about whether you call it pro-abortion or pro-choice, anti-abortion or pro-life. Because how you frame the argument has lots to do with whether you win the argument. So I wanted to give you a heads up about one brand new frame heading your way. You know the debate that's been going on since those terrible shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Actually, for much longer than that, after Columbine and Virginia Tech and Aurora, even here in Wisconsin after the Sikh temple shootings last summer, but especially after Sandy Hook. Now, a lot of us understand that slaughter by gunfire has gotten way out of hand and we have to do something about it. Over on the other side, meanwhile, the NRA and its allies are saying no. No compromises and no concessions. No new laws or regulations, no new enforcement powers, even for the laws and regulations already on the books. No. They're standing up, they say, for gun rights against gun control. So here's the first thing the folks pushing for change started doing. They stopped talking about gun control. Instead, they started talking about gun violence. See, gun control can sound, at least if you listen to right-wing radio, like the feds are coming after your guns with black helicopters. But gun violence? Even gun owners don't want gun violence, right? But then the other day I heard David Plouffe, one of President Obama's top strategists, talking about how the president was determined to take action on gun safety. He said it twice, I think, gun safety. And I'm betting he was trying out an even better frame. See, gun violence can still be a bit ambiguous. What if you're a soldier or defending yourself against an assault or a home invasion? You may feel the need to use some gun violence. But gun safety? Everybody's for gun safety, even the NRA, supposedly. In fact, that used to be what the NRA was all about, before they went off the deep end, that is. So my prediction, lots more talk about gun safety and what we need to do to promote gun safety. See, the ideas are important, but the words, they're crucial.
Thanks, Rick, and thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your evening.